Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Young. Today we're going to be talking about Couchbase. If you go to my website at mustardmandevelopments.com, you should be able to find the Couchbase tutorial I provided. So where do we start? Let's talk about Couchbase. So what is Couchbase? It's a NoSQL database system, and its environment comes with a dedicated query language that's deployed with the Couchbase there. It's called Nickel. We're going to go over some examples of Nickel and all that. It's primarily a document database, but it also can act as a key and or value storage. It makes it very flexible, and I think it's great that Couchbase gives us the option as to what our database should be like in those kinds of primary attributes. Another thing I like about this transition here, you see the scene stack is with Couchbase now. There's different applications and programs that we use. Makes it good to mix up. The other one was MongoDB, and you'll see later listed as one of the competitors of Couchbase. They provide examples in a way in libraries with Java, PHP, .NET, and C. And if I get lucky, maybe I'll actually get some courage and do Ruby. But it's pretty extensible, and it has a lot of libraries you can actually go into. So let's get started right away, right? So here I provided you a button to where you can just download now, and so we'll go out there and we'll check that out. So go ahead and you're going to want to find a download. So let's see, whatever platform you want, and I have this in my tutorial as well. You got some options here. So we're going to be going through with the Enterprise Edition of Couchbase Server. So you'll download that, and we'll get back into it. So while that's downloading, I'll go into when to use it or lose it. Couchbase is great. So really, you have everything, I think. The Internet of Things, high volume data, when it's coming through all these devices now, it's NoSQL is a factor in how that data gets stored and actually interpreted later on. Couchbase provides that. Real-time streaming, data use, it's apparent, and they provide a good outlook for that as well. And then auto synchronization, that's important. So Couchbase provides all these things for us, so why would I ever really want to lose it? You don't. And you'll see it here in the competition when actually you look at the performance base from Couchbase. You can see that it's MongoDB at number 1, number 2 is DataStax, and the other third is Apache Cassandra. So you see the big rivals, right? So when we look at the stats though, at a press release from Mountain View, Couchbase posts past the performance benchmark. So here are these numbers here, and I'll zoom in so you guys can see that. It's a big leap. 6 times more, 7 times more. It's a lot. So the operations per second is what they're talking about, and Couchbase server, it reads quick. So it's definitely optimum for any kind of big application. Alright, so I'm assuming that your download is done and it's in a directory, probably the program files. So if you did the defaults here, which I'm not saying you would, we'll look at this Couchbase website really quick, and we're going to go through and try to get the reference app installed. And we'll start off in this beautiful area here in the getting started, and that's provided for you as well. So we're going to start with the reference application. Like I said, the system requirements are there, so for my tutorial you can go into the getting started if you want here, and I'll bring it back, and then you're going to really want to be on that getting started. It's going to be helping you out throughout the entire time here. So let's go look at the live one that they hosted for us. I can enter my data right now, and it's taking it in as a new user. And you see that the enable narration is checked, and we caused some REST data to come through. So I posted in REST, and now I'm querying through REST into Couch database or Couchbase. So I'm going to go into Los Angeles right now. International. All right, so I think we get the picture. So what's great is that they provide all these tutorials for us as well. So I'm going to go out to the GitHub site here. It's going to be going to Couchbase Labs. Alright, let's just get there. The repository you're trying to get is going to be TryCB, and you'll see already you got the .NET, the Node.js, and the Java. Alright, so the one I choose for this one is the Node.js, and the reason why is I'm just trying to mimic exactly what they created to make sure that it works. So you can see that, and I already pulled this and downloaded it. However you want to do it, just go ahead and try that now and get it to a location of your choice. So when we bring up the actual application here, and I'm using PHP Storm, you may have a different IDE, so it may look different to you, but either way, app.js is the default file. That's what we're going to load. And now I'm going to use Git to actually start that application. So if you don't have Git, what will happen is you can actually go to the Getting Started area here, and it will tell you exactly what you need. And Git is just a good way to do it. You can do it also through another package manager of your choice, but the first thing you want to do is go out and get Node.js, and then after you get Node.js, you can use Git to enter those following commands to make sure everything is downloaded, all the dependencies exist for you to be able to use Git and start this application. So I'm going to go node app.js, and what that's going to do is going to relay me some feedback, which is going to go out to the Couchbase. Fantastic. So now that we got that set up, and we'll come back to that in just a second. So we'll go screw it up here, and we'll look at the install instructions. Assuming you're all installed and now you got your package that you're going to work with here, let's go back and make sure everything lines up, and you set up your console. It's just like PHP admin, it's very fresh, so let's go do that. So you're going to navigate to 8091, and then you're going to go through the configuration phase. I will already be at the administration login, so I'm going to log in while you're doing that, and then I'll meet you inside. Alright, so we're here. Assuming everything is all set up for you, you got a username and everything's great, you should be looking at something similar to this. The RAM overview might be a bit different, but either way it's pretty crisp, and it's probably new. So there's the cluster overview. You see it's very easy to see. And then now we get in the server nodes. You can see that I'm on the local host here, and I can add more servers by going over here. You can just put the IP address and the credentials in there. And then we move over into data buckets, and what I like to think of data buckets as is tables, similar to what we were used to in relational style databases. And you see there's the bucket, and then you get travel sample. So those are the two samples that I installed with the configuration of this. So if you're still on that phase, go ahead and make sure those are checked. If not, you should go into the settings and then go into the sample buckets, and then you'll have the beer sample and the travel sample available here in available samples. So assuming those are done too, we'll go back in here, and I'm going to go look at the documents of beer sample. So they're going to load up here, and it's going to just be a little search engine basically for me. I can display a certain amount if I want here. It doesn't really matter just yet. And we'll continue looking at their documents here, and we're just going to go look for mine that I set up here. If we can go down here, and we'll see mine. I think it's the next one. Oh, one more. Okay, so I created a few beers. I like beer, so you can see one's default here. So let's go to Aaron's a new beer. You see this is just a blank template that they'll give you when you create a new document, which is really great. It makes it really easy for you to create these documents. And you can see one that I created, Aaron Stout, errands. So those are there, my document ID here and my fields. And you'll see here is my latitude and longitude. I should probably change that to really be Sacramento, but it's okay. We can also look at the views, the production views, and go from there. Indexes. You need to have an index for nickel, and that's important. You want to be able to see nickel work. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the actual application we installed, and we'll check out the nickel here. So navigate to where you want to go. It is the Couchbase server bin. Mine's in the program files as a default. So I'm in there now, and you're going to want to get to the getting started if you want help with this. It's nice and easy. You can see here that it's run the interactive query shell. So if you're on a Windows, you'll be getting to that CVQ exe, and then you're going to want to create an index like we just discussed in the console. So we'll go back into the command line here, and I already created a primary key index, so we'll just do it anyways to see what output we get. Alright, I got to start the application here, so CVQ exe, and then so I'm in my shell already. So I'll create the primary key index, and you'll see I get a primary key already exists error. So let's just try one of these queries that they've gotten for us here. So I want to find the American style imperial stouts. So I'll take that query, and I'm going to go back into my GUI, or excuse me, my command line here, and we'll just put that in there, and let's see what we get. So you can see the JSON document that is returned, and the JSON attributes here, and then the results. And it separates that up real nice for us to see the success, the time executed, just similar to what we're going to see in the GUI here. So if you don't have it already, go ahead and download this beautiful Workbench developer preview. I'll be using the one that is within the Couchbase install. It's the developer preview 1.0, and this is the 0.32. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So what happens here is if you go download that Workbench now, and assuming you're done, I'm going to go look through it this way. I like Windows 10 in that manner. It's quick. You're going to make sure you want to launch that GUI. So you'll see the batch file there. So if you launch that, and I already have that up here already, so I'll show you what that looks like here. And you'll see that it's requesting that you go to localhost 8094. And we'll do that. We will get to that localhost. Let's get over there. Alright. $80.94. So here I am. I'm in my query area. So I'm just going to paste that same query, and we'll see the, excuse me, not that's saved, but that's a great feature to have, right? So execute. We'll get to execute, and you'll see it's the same example turn back we already got. We can see this easily, and the result size. Just the same as in the command line, just through this nice pretty Workbench preview. You can view it as a table though, which is different than the command line. It's a bit easier to read if you're looking for a particular piece of data, or maybe inconsistencies, or whatever it is you're looking for. And then you can also look at it as a tree, to where you can separate the items and elements by fields. That's your quick and down dirty for the query Workbench developer and the nickel. And I like the nickel, right? Everybody likes the nickel. So let's go back and look at this application, right? So what I did now is I'm going to go to localhost 3000. Alright, so let's go to our localhost 3000. That should be up and running, right? Presto. So without very much effort here, you can see that I was able to get this application up and running. Not too much there. And I'll just enter the same data that I entered before. You see the enable enter narration is checked as well, and boom, I'm in here. New database, that's I'm able to log in twice. So if I log out, I'm a new user now. So if the console's reset and narration, and you'll see what happens. So through this demo, I'm actually inserting into the database now. I'm inserting my credentials. So that shows you a quick glimpse at how that works and how to actually see that through Node.js, and that was the example that we tried really quick. Let's close out of there and get back to some other stuff. So one thing I like to point out is they do have a video and how that works. You can make it tuned as to what you want, a better example, put things in there, whatever the case may be. Another example that I got was also the C application here. It was a quick application that shows us how running these types can make an upset. So upsert rather. So it's a bucket.upsert. Insert is very similar to an upsert. So you'll see that here in this if statement, and then we're going to be entering that data as elements here into the JSON document. So if you build here, you'll see a hello Couchbase, and we'll stop that just so that way we can rebuild here. We'll start it, and and you'll see we're able to get hello Couchbase returned back to us from that application. A pretty nice basic application that gets us to understand the fundamentals of NoSQL and within Couchbase. So looking at the fundamentals of NoSQL, we have Couchbase College, which is a great place to go to actually get the online training provided by them. So you start off, you can have the all audiences approach here, and then it goes into the different types, into developers and mobile developers, having classes for iOS and Android, along with Java. They provide hands-on code labs and other types of material to better aid our learning. So I call it the Couchbase College, right? It's pretty nice. They also provide classroom hands-on training, virtual and on-site. Nice place to go. You see I already earned one of the certs here. So for code snippets, they do a pretty good job making sure we have a great understanding of the basic syntax to query against any database within Couchbase. So you'll see here the read, write, and query areas, and then if we go into the getting started as well, you can get a better examples of what you want. So if you're developing in Java and you wanted to get the sync or async for reads, writes, and queries, you go there and get those library syntax, and you would continue on for which one you need. And I have the PHP, as I said before. Also, I want to point out for code projects here is they have a lot. So go ahead and play with these, and I specifically today did the CB Travel, and I was going to do the cbtravel.net. I just did the .net example here. It's pretty nice to look at it. So go ahead and play with those. Back at my tutorial, we'll look at the integrated software. You see I have a few down here. Let's look at Elasticsearch. So what that should do is bring you to a plugin, let you actually do full text search results within your application. So it's a simple plugin, and it tells you how it should work and what you should be expecting upon return. So it's a nice little plugin. It saves you a bit of time and work, especially depending on what your project is. I provided also some resources down here. It takes you to the open source projects, and they're separated between the SDK and the mobile. So you'll see that they're all listed here. I'll be getting in touch with the mobile side of the house, and if you remember, if you go down to download, you should be able to go into Couchbase Mobile and download a version that you wanted to try out. Another thing is Couchbase Labs. We went there earlier to get the application for the travel. We tried that out. So there's a couple other ones out here. You can see it lets us know different areas where we want examples. It gives us those. There's plenty of examples here, so have fun with that. So, and then lastly, I put some white papers down here. The white papers provide us a good way of looking at what is the mobile app, for instance, or for Couchbase, and how do they do it. And the white pages give us enough information to see why we should choose Couchbase overall. You can see obviously we're transitioning from traditional data to new data, and they get us all the information we need to make that transition with Couchbase into that mobile environment, or if we're trying to learn more about the server, we can actually do that as well. So it's nice to be able to have that there. And then also I provided one for the benchmarks, just kind of like we went over earlier. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to go reach out and contact me. I'll try to get back to you within a day, and hopefully I have the answer. You can also go down and put a comment at the bottom of this video, or you can visit us at Twitter, Facebook, or GitHub. Thank you.